Do you like basketball? Basketball. I like, but I'm not good at. Yes, I'm not.
Me too.
He's a big fan of mine.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the State of the League podcast, the only NBA podcast. What do we do? I guess in the last week we've both awoken to the divine technology that connects us all through wonderful religious technocratic TikToks. That's been pretty sweet. Pablo put me onto those, and the only NBA podcast where both hosts have seen Alien Romulus. I think that's a real claim that we have. I would wager Logan from Turd Sesh, he hasn't seen it. Theo from Stay Hot, he hasn't seen it. None of the Pick a Side boys see movies, so we're really locked in on that front.
Yeah, I'm sure Theo's watching. Brian Dundinger, backup right guard from the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Smash that like button if I had just owned Theo.
Nice. Smash that like button. Leave a comment says Theo Ash BTFO'd. And you can tag them in that. But leave
Comment
it on
down
our
below.
video.
Hashtag Team Rico.
Yeah, I'm your host, Jack, aka Jokic Joe Star. With me, as always, the world famous Pablo Escobar. Pablo, how are you doing today?
I just finished watching have you ever seen The Wire?
Oh, no, but I've wanted to watch it for a long time. I know it's good.
It's one of the GOAT shows. It's so good. The same guys who made a show in 2022 called We Own This Town or We Own This City or something.
Is that the John Bernthal Baltimore? I've wanted to watch that too. I've seen clips of it.
I just finished it. It's so good too. Great. The
I'm
police are bad guys.
Yeah, the police aren't good. That's the big moral of The Wire and that show. And maybe even, you know what show I'm watching? I'm kind of ashamed to say I've never seen it before, but I'm like 3 episodes in, and I'm like, this is fucking insane. Is Batman Beyond hopped up on my HBO feed the other day, and I was like, I've never seen this. I'll just throw it on, like expecting it to be like a pretty good, just like kids animated show. It fucking rocks, dude. It's so cool. Oh my god. So I'm having a lot of fun with that. But The Wire, it's definitely on my list.
Yeah, I used to watch Batman Beyond as a kid. I don't really remember the plot points. I watched the movie pretty recently. But yeah, they don't make cartoons like that anymore. I'll tell you what, where they're going to the club.
Yeah, I know. We got like a full on. I wonder when Batman Beyond the show came out, because it straight up ripped off Akira in like the first episode, like a 5 full minute future motorcycle chase sequence. And I guess it's an homage, I guess, but they're literally like being chased by clowns on Tron motorcycles and shit. And so I was like, oh, this is just Akira. But beyond that, it's been sick as hell. So I'm having a lot of good times with that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of my favorite TV show. Have you seen Mad Men?
No.
Lock the fuck in. It's not wire pilled at all. Have you seen The Sopranos?
No.
Okay, well that's like, if you like The Wire, guaranteed to like The Sopranos. Very similar. I think The Wire is grittier. The Sopranos does a lot more to explore like crime within the family dynamic and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I haven't seen The Wire, so I don't know. It's just like The Sopranos, when I watched it for the first time, I was like, this is a lot less violent. I'm sure it was violent in like 2002 when it aired, but compared to the shit I see on TV now, it's really not that like crazy.
Oh, I was trying to watch a serial killer movie. I was just looking for anything. There's one called Citizen X on HBO, and it was going cool until they showed the actual killing, and it was just like the lamest scene ever from 1995. Like just a guy jabbing a knife in, but you can't see anything, and there's no music or anything playing. Like it was just bizarre, so it killed the vibe.
That's lame. Comment your favorite serial killer movies down below. Have you seen Seven?
Yeah, I thought it was okay. It didn't live up to the hype.
No. I'm the
Memories
same way.
of Murder is the GOAT.
I got it. It's on my official watch list now. I got it recommended to me again by someone online who's like, if you like Zodiac, like this is just better Zodiac. And I was like, fine,
so
whatever. But next movie night, I think I'm watching think I'm watching Terminator 2 is on the queue list for me. Have you ever seen that?
I might have. I've only seen the Terminator movies with my friends, so I don't know which ones we watched.
Terminator 2 is the one with like the liquid metal robot villain.
I don't know. What's the one where it's his clone that's trying, or is that the first one?
I think that's probably one of the new ones. So like there's two Arnold Schwarzeneggers, is what you mean?
Yeah. But I saw one old one, I think.
Well, whatever. I mean, it's definitely worth a rewatch. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. It's fucking so sick. Oh my god. Yeah, long story short, Arnold Schwarzenegger has to fight I can't remember his name. His actor's name is like Patrick something. But he's a Terminator made out of liquid metal. And you would think for coming out in like 1995, the VFX on like a liquid metal villain are complete dog shit. It ages so well. Like it looks incredibly good, and he's legitimately scary for a lot of it. So yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna watch. I just watched a video essay about it. Do you want to get into the Denver Nuggets, or do you want to keep chopping up? Have you seen this type dialogue?
I didn't like Akira that much. All right, let's get to the Nuggets.
L. Oh God, we're not sneaking that under the wire. Although I was thinking for a Patreon episode, since it's kind of dead right now, we could I was gonna put a poll in the Patreon. I would assume if you nominated a movie and it didn't have to be a sports movie, would it be Nope? That's what I was gonna put for you.
For GOAT movie?
Well, just like if you and me watched a movie and then talked about it on the Patreon episode, would Nope be your nomination, or is there something else that jumps out to you?
Oh, that'd be a contender, but I don't know. Nothing jumps out. I'm too busy thinking about the Nuggets, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, all right. Well, fuck movies, fuck the art of cinema, fuck Fede Alvarez, and fuck the lady who was in Civil War. No, it was good. It was a good movie, and so was she. She was a talented actress in it. The Denver Nuggets, though. If we want to talk about talent, if we want to talk about being good, I think on both of those fronts they have sizably regressed. So this episode it marks the first in our team previews for next season. We're doing the Denver Nuggets. For some of these, we will have guests. For this one, your guest is me. And so we have a set list of questions we're going to be asking everybody who comes on. And I'm going to run through and answer all of those, and we can chop them up. So the first question is, how do I feel about where the Nuggets are at as a franchise? My answer to this is comfortably worse than I did at the onset of last season. It feels like they took a step backwards while pretty much every other team at the top of the West either took a big swing. Like even if the Klay Thompson move for Dallas doesn't work out, they tried to get notably better. And then I think the Wolves, just with like Anthony Edwards, another year under his belt, plus like the Dillingham pick, that's a big swing. And then OKC trading for Alex Caruso, just direct upgrade in personnel. Feels like everybody in the West got better, and the Denver Nuggets really did not. How do you feel about them?
Yeah, the vibes are kind of they're way off. I said the franchise is at a depressing peak right now, and where you kind of have your franchise GOAT, but you feel like time is running out. And you're like, oh man, I don't know. It's like the Sunday or the August of the dynasty.
In terms of like depressing peak, the winning a championship completely shifted the window of all emotions I could possibly feel about this team, because like the valley that we hit when Jamal Murray tore his ACL, it's not even like in the frame anymore. I can't see those depths. So yeah, in terms of depressing peak, holy shit. I mean, I watched Facu Campazzo start a playoff game. You have no idea how bad it can get.
But he's a great passer.
Hey, shout out to him. He should have been on my greatest pure passers graphic that I made. That would have been a good nod. Yeah, so it sucks, and it definitely feels when Murray got hurt the first time, we didn't really know how good Jokic was. And so it's just like a separate feeling now where it is, okay, this is like lowballing it, the 17th best player of all time, the 20th best player of all time. We have him at his absolute apex, and we're fielding. This is the roster we're giving him, and it doesn't seem like there's a ton of avenues for them to add like another really high level player to this team. And so yeah, it is a little sad. You would just like to see maybe a little bit higher talent level, more depth. I don't know, just better construction around Jokic. But it's not like they're completely out of title contention either. It's just like when we won in 2023, I felt like they were comfortably better than pretty much every other team. I was a
Mhm.
little scared about meeting like the Bucks in the finals or something, but or I mean, yeah, I was scared of the Bucks, but like everybody in the West, I was just like, okay, if KD and Booker score 100 points combined, yeah, they could maybe beat us. And I was pretty scared of the Lakers, but by like game 3 of that series, it was just like completely erased. And so it felt like they were more talented than everyone else. And it obviously does not feel like that this season.
Yeah, they came out of their most recent playoff series that they probably should have won. The feeling was, oh man, we probably need some more talent around these guys. Probably not enough firepower going on.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's Jamal Murray's injury, like exacerbating everything. Maybe in a year from now, we look back and we're like, oh yeah, he was just hurt. And when he's on his A game, that this is still the same team. But it doesn't feel good right now. And losing even if they brought back KCP, I'd be like, oh, no changes.
Mm-hmm.
This I would like something, but they lost KCP, and so I'm thinking, oh man, this like originally their run seemed centered around the Murray Jokic combo. Jokic has always been unstoppable in that when they won, Murray was unstoppable for large stretches, but when he's mortal, then you could just sell out on that on that
Mm-hmm.
pairing and just let him shoot or let Jokic pass to guys who cannot shoot. It's just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they at some points like it comes down to Jokic is always going to create advantages. You need people who can take advantage of the advantages.
Yeah. And I think one thing that the Wolves series specifically made really difficult is that Jokic is super good at not just creating 3-pointers. Like he is really good at creating dunks, layups, floaters, high percentage shots around the rim. But the Wolves are such a solid interior defense that a lot of those shots were taken away, and it did just end up being him like kicking out to guys who, you're comfortable with Michael Porter Jr. taking threes or KCP taking threes, but Minnesota's 3-point defense was also so good, combined with just like a cold stretch from those guys that, yeah, it ended up being possessions where you lived with it if you're Minnesota and you came out on top. Like they got the job done. Denver missed their shots. And so, yeah, I think that transfers us into question number 2 pretty easily. How do you feel about the franchise's off-season moves? I feel bad. Um, Not just about losing KCP, which like obviously that sucks. Obviously that's offensively soundly a downgrade. Even if Christian Brown comes in, and we'll get to him in a little bit, and he plays at like a really high level, it is unreasonable to expect him to be like one of the league's premier 3-point shooters and a guy who could really run like a quirky 2-man game with Jokic, where KCP he thrived on like mid-range elbow free throw line pull-ups that Jokic would just create wide open for him. He was really good at those shots. Christian Brown's not going to be doing stuff like that next season. And so losing him, that's terrible. But also the more I've thought about the Westbrook edition, it's just like the more people's optimism around it, and even my own optimism, really, the last time we talked about it, is just kind of based on the idea that Jokic makes everyone better. And so if he's on the floor with Jokic, he will be like a suitable rotation guy for a title contender. And I just don't know if that's the case. And even if it is, if he's only livable in his minutes with Jokic, then he doesn't really address the problem that Denver had last year, which is that the starters were completely gassed and the bench unit couldn't provide any sort of rest for those guys.
Yeah, I'm not really a believer that he's giving you much in the playoffs. Like he's still a complete
Dude, I did not
non-shooter.
realize how bad he was for the Clippers last year. I have his numbers here when you're done making this point. It's insane.
I'll tell you what, Westbrook is a guy who he lives in the biggest moments. So he had the one playoff moment with the Clippers in last year's playoffs. Remember when he in the entire game he was 4 for 19, but he scored a couple points and had a big defensive stop at the end of one playoff game. In the 2023 playoffs. And
the
so
2023 playoffs, that was the one where I think Paul George was also hurt. And so it was literally just the Westbrook show. He ended up averaging 24, 25 points per game for that series. And it was a first round exit and he wasn't very efficient or anything. But that, if he could even do that, then I'd be this is probably what success looks like for the Nuggets. Him against the Mavericks last year is just completely untenable.
Yeah, he's just if he has a cool moment, it just overwashes everything. So everyone's I don't know, Westbrook on the Clippers is cool. But yeah, it's just tough for a guy who's a non-shooter, whose defense comes and goes, who is not. I think he was more willing to move off ball last year, but still, I don't know if he's. Maybe it changes with Jokic, but I don't know how effective of a cutter he is. And his overall touch is rough, and his touch at the rim specifically is rough. So it just keeps. It's gotten worse with age. So we'll see how much he has in the tank for this team. But as for the rest of the moves, they lost KCP. And they're just counting on Christian Brown to fill that void. So who knows if that'll work out. They did lose Justin Holiday.
Yeah, I saw it. Well, they just didn't bring him back. I assume that was to be able to pay Westbrook and Saric, which was their two. By all accounts, those were the two goals they had for this offseason, was add Westbrook and add Dario Saric. And I think letting Justin Holiday walk, it's not an atrocious move, but he was good for them. In limited run, he was a good shooter, and he played defense to the extent that he wasn't a disaster in my memory. And I felt he was a guy who could do stuff on a good team, and he's just not there anymore. And they have pretty good wing depth right now, so I understand it, but I mean, it doesn't feel like they have a lot of room for health stuff at any position on this roster.
The way I saw it framed was that it was between him and DeAndre Jordan, and they chose to keep DeAndre Jordan. That's from Danny LaRue and Nate Duncan from the Dunked On podcast. And if anyone would know, those dweebs would know. So yeah, that's rough. Justin Holiday, I think Justin Holiday is a little bit underrated. He's a guy who can exist on playoff courts. He's an okay-ish defender, and then he's an okay-ish three-point shooter, and he's a Holiday.
And he's a free agent still, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess he is probably really old now, but still. Yeah, it's that he could get on the court. Peyton Watson couldn't last year, so it's for a team like this that just needs guys. Not a great move. DeAndre Jordan, the vibes, the locker room vibes must be very, very strong for that to happen.
Well, we touched on it. DeAndre Jordan is the only player that kisses Jokic in their secret handshake. So I maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Yeah, most of my other bullet points, you touched on it. Westbrook, even again, going back to if Westbrook's sharing the floor with Jokic will make him better. What shot is Westbrook really good at right now? Because he shot 57% at the rim last season. He shot 37% from 5 to 9 feet, so floater-ish range. If you're a non-shooter and you're playing with Jokic, those are the shots that you're going to get, is like layups and floaters and stuff in that range. He'll open up those spots for you. But like if you can't convert those, then being like an okay passer, I don't know, it just doesn't really do that much to supplement it. And it feels like him and Brown. So like last year, Brown was one of the most consistent impact bench guys. And even with him probably starting this year, I would have expected him to like stagger with the bench more. He's a young guy, he's got fresh legs, all that shit. It doesn't feel like Westbrook and Brown are like really that playable together. They do a lot of the same stuff in terms of like getting downhill, and being super athletic. So yeah, it's a little sketchy. I think the Sarge pickup is fine. I think the depth still overall got worse with the Justin, because Justin Holiday is a guy who gets 12 minutes. DeAndre Jordan is not in any sense like a rotation guy. So just in that like alone, depth gets worse. So yeah. And then drafting Deron Holmes was so good. Like I liked the pick a lot. And then I'm not gonna like hold that against the franchise that he got hurt, but it's just like another thing on the pile of shit that was a little frustrating this offseason.
I think the vision for Westbrook is a Westbrook optimist would think, okay, him cutting off Jokic, that'll improve the quality of his rim looks. It'll be way easier for him, so the percentage will go up that way. And then if he gets good enough at that, then defenses, if they collapse to stop that, then he can punish them with the passing. But still, it's just I don't think that's going to work out too well. But another thing I didn't realize, they had to give up 3 second-round picks to dump Reggie Jackson's salary.
Yeah. Yeah. That was like a big part of I think of making that 6-team trade work, if I'm not mistaken. Like the one where it's like, oh, the Nuggets just got cash here. It's the only 6-team trade in NBA history, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was they had to give up pretty serious draft capital in terms of like just getting rid of a guy. So that was pretty annoying.
So yeah, ultimately they got worse and they have less assets.
Yeah. And so if we were talking about literally anybody but like if we were talking about Giannis here, even I feel like people would be like selling stock considerably more than they are right now. And I don't think that's not me commenting on like the talent gap between Giannis and Jokic or anything. It's just kind of where the narratives are at with these guys, where, you know, Luka, embarrassing finals performance, loss, blown out by this really good Celtics team. Oh, well, he's definitely not the best in the world. That means Jokic is still the best in the world, blah, blah, blah. It just gives people a lot more faith in this Nuggets team than maybe they necessarily have earned up to this point. But who knows? Who knows? Fuck it. The West, it's going to be a crapshoot next year, regardless. That's an optimistic way of putting it if you're a Nuggets guy. Number 3, what are my expectations for the upcoming NBA season? What would a disappointing season look like against a surprisingly nice one? So expectations, contend for the NBA championship. If this is like the first in a several year stretch of us like being contenders on paper, and if you ask someone to justify that, they only have the response, well, it's because you have Jokic, that would be disappointing. Like that would be sad. I want this team to coalesce around Jokic and everybody play to relatively the ceiling we've seen them be at before.
Live up to their contracts.
yeah. Live up to the contracts they maybe are going to get in the future in a couple months. Hopefully. Jamal.
And some that they have. Michael Porter Jr.
I think, okay, Michael Porter Jr., disastrous 3-point shooting stretch in the playoffs last year. It can't happen. But overall.
And he's got to get back to passable defense. Well, even solid defense, I would say, a point.
Yeah. So yeah, I think disappointing for me is if we get to like, I think I would lock them in for a second round appearance next year if I had to do it right now. But losing in convincing fashion to any of the Thunder, the Mavs, the Wolves, or the Grizzlies even. If it just seems like there's a gap between the Nuggets and any of those teams, that would be really disappointing to me because it doesn't feel like, yeah, I mean, it feels like they have all these young guys. They're trying to add role players in-house, but it doesn't feel like there are a ton of avenues to like making big sweeping personnel changes with this roster. And so if they have a playoff appearance this year where even if they don't win, if I like see the vision and I could tell myself, hey, if all the right matchups line up for them, if they get a little bit more health luck than other teams, then they could win the championship again. That would be good. But if it feels like it would just take an unreasonable amount of luck, if it feels like I'm talking about them the way I'm talking about the Kings or something, as like maybe they could make a run, then I would feel just really disgusted.
I would like to think that they're a contender, but I just right at this moment right now, I feel like they're lacking the juice. I feel like but also I guess I'll have to think about their competition more because like going into that series against Minnesota, I thought Minnesota didn't have enough offensive juice, but it felt like they had more guys who could do stuff by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough because the Jokic factor is so strong, and then if just Michael Porter Jr. lives up to his contract, if Aaron Gordon doesn't decline at all, and if Jamal Murray's just normal, and then we get some guys who can hit some threes, I feel like that still could be enough. Just because there is no perfect team. Who has the best depth in the West?
I think it might be OKC at this point.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
the Wolves. Okay, the Wolves. Naz Reid is probably the best bench player in the West, unless we're talking like Malik Monk or somebody. But among the contenders, it's probably Naz Reid. But when you look at OKC with like, I don't even know what their starting lineup is going to look like, but guys who are in contention for bench roles, you're talking names like Case and Wallace. Maybe Hartenstein doesn't start. Lou Dort versus Caruso. I think one of those guys will be coming off the bench. And so, yeah, it's just OKC is just a fucking nightmare next year, to be honest.
yeah. It's really you're you're a team that has very little shooting, and you're going up against a team that's going to have like maxed out shooting, like even at the 5 spot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, ultimately, I'm still gonna say they should be in that contender tier. And I will be disappointed if they're knocked out in like the first, second round.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I ultimately probably my expectations will evolve throughout the season once I see how good everyone looks.
Yeah, I mean, if we get like 65 games out of Jamal and he plays not even at like an all-star level, but just like consistently high level in a offense that is like spreading the ball and giving love to everybody, then I'll feel more comfortable than if it's like another year where we get 48 games out of him and he doesn't look good until like January or something. That would be a little more concerning. So I wrote down for, yeah, my disappointing season would be that second round thing, and then surprisingly nice, obvious, like not just jumping to like it'd be surprisingly nice if they fucking stomped their way to a title. Realistically, I said Christian Brown steps up and becomes like a very high level contributor. I do think there were situations last postseason, specifically when we talk about the Anthony Edwards matchup. I think Christian Brown did a better job than KCP at guarding him. Just in terms of like a combination of strength and mobility. KCP was looking almost like McDaniels versus Luka a little bit, just like a little outside of his weight class, and it granted a lot of advantages to Anthony Edwards. So
Meat
I,
difference.
yeah, exactly. And so I think Brown could be most of what KCP was defensively. Uh, but he would like a dream scenario for him is to be like survivable as a floor spacer next year. I don't think it's realistic to expect him to be like 39% on volume. If he could just like hit wide open threes and do everything else pretty well, that would be good. I think surprisingly nice would be Peyton Watson being a playoff rotation guy, which I don't think that's unreasonable. Malone has a tendency to go away from young guys, and the spacing will be an issue next year, regardless of whether or not he's in the rotation. So I think I think some of the shit he provides, like when we talk about the bench, I think Watson could come in, give Aaron Gordon some rest, do a lot of the stuff that he does, and then Aaron Gordon could slot in with the bench unit maybe, and you would see a little more offensive creation with that unit. I think Aaron Gordon can do some stuff on the ball, especially against like backup caliber guys. So maybe that's a direction they go. And then surprisingly nice, Westbrook fills his role, doesn't do too much. He runs a solid bench unit that lets the starters catch their breath. And then Julian Strother's shooting revolution was my last bullet point. So
yeah. How many guys do we know can exist in the playoffs right now? Because Peyton Watson, it hasn't happened yet. Christian Brown, it's happened a little bit, right?
I will call Christian Brown can exist in the playoffs, Pilled.
Okay. How many bench guys do we have? Christian Brown, yes. Starich, I think no. Westbrook, I think no.
Do you think we don't know, or you think it's like a firm they can't?
I think it's a no.
Okay. Well, fuck. At that point, it's really like there's not really not that many guys. They were running an 8-man rotation last year with like Justin Holiday and shit, and he's gone. And so, yeah, I mean, if that's right, if Sarge and Westbrook can't go in the playoffs, there is a very, very hard ceiling to this team that we will see very early in the postseason. I think they are relying on those two to be good. So, I mean, if you're right in that prediction, it's cooked. Wrap it up.
God, I hope the Peyton Watson leap happens.
It'd be so sick. Oh my God, dude. Fuck me. Because Peyton Watson, he's very, I don't want to call him Paul Reed pilled, because I think there's probably a more direct path forward to him becoming like a contributor on a high level team. But he's Paul Reed pilled in the sense that like every 8 to 10 games, he'll have a game where you're like, holy fuck, this guy is really fucking good. This guy can be something. Like he'll just have a handful of plays where he blocks like 3 jump shots, or he gets an insane steal into a transition dunk or something. He just does a lot of shit well, but he was too raw for the playoffs last year. And so I don't put that on his shoulders as like a second year guy. I don't put that on Malone's shoulders for not playing him. I really put it on the front office's shoulders for like putting him in that position on the depth chart.
Yeah, we're really gonna need one of these Jalen Pickett, Hunter Tyson, Julian Strother. Someone's got to hit at some point.
Someone has to hit. I mean, that's really the way it is. We can't just have guys like balling out in the G League all year again. So yeah, it's tough. The fourth question I wrote down, or is just on the list, says, is there a mid-season trade you want or expect your franchise player to make? For the Nuggets, not really. I think you saw this offseason, like they really came to a crossroads in terms of like paying KCP or letting him walk, and how willing they were to like spend money and get uncomfortable building out the roster to keep it as good as possible. And so it doesn't feel like they have a lot of avenues as far as like draft picks or really like valuable young assets that a team giving up a contributing player would want. So I think the KCP thing keeps them under the second apron at least. So if the buyout market, if there's like some crazy guys on that front when it comes around, maybe they're first in line to pick those up compared to some of the other contenders that are well over the second apron. But really, it feels like this is the unit moving forward.
Yeah, so I think I wrote down their picks. They have their own 26, 28, and 30. And I think they might have 31. But I don't think they're allowed to trade any of those because of the Stepien rule. So I don't know. Realistically, I don't know what moves can they make? Like what? Wait, so how are they allowed to? What do they get out of being not over the second apron?
I mean, there's a bunch of different things. I think so. The main one is that like you can't sign free agents out of the buyout market. I think it is. And I also don't think you have access to the taxpayer mid-level exception. And then there's other stuff where when you do trades, like you can't send out more money than you take in or something. But yeah, the main thing is that it restricts teams that are over it in ways that teams that are under it, they'll have more avenues to pick up players. But there's not even really like teams or players that spring to mind as guys that I'm like chomping at the bit will be available. And so like if you're thinking about this from the Nuggets perspective, like their big flaws this offseason, they put in work to fix, they sunk assets into, and even though you and I don't like them really or aren't that high on them, I'm sure the Nuggets will do like they'll run the full experiment. And so if it doesn't work out, I just feel like I don't know. I think they will probably wait too long to accept the fact that it's not working. I feel like that would probably be like post deadline if they came to that truth.
It also does. It does feel like they've punted intentionally, and so I wonder if they would just stay pat or stay still and be like, well, we already kind of expected we weren't going to be as good this year. We're going to reload it next year. So I wonder if we could just get like a boring deadline for them. I hope not. But it feels like,
I mean, they've never been aggressive at the deadline since like the Aaron Gordon thing, which like that was barely even aggression because the market on him was like non-existent when it happened.
yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't know how many guys are going to be out there that they could like realistically attain that would actually be able to play playoff minutes, and like, are they going to be able to beat out other teams for that? Like, the Grizzlies still have a lot of picks, right? And other guys like OKC has assets, so it'll be tough for sure.
Yeah. So, God, this makes me feel so good. This podcast. I'm ready for the season to start, baby. Number 5, I said, which player are you most looking forward to see progress this season? It's a toss-up for me between Christian Brown and Peyton Watson, but my sleeper pick is Jamal Murray. I think, you know, we haven't gotten like the Jamal Murray experience in the regular season. Really, even
Or
like
in the Olympic season.
yeah, no shit. Leave him alone. Damn, he's trying his best. You know how you were just coming off like a calf injury that seriously hampered you? Why don't you go play in the Olympics? I know it's been 20 minutes. Do whatever the fuck you want, man. Yeah, we haven't. Even looking back through like Murray's healthy regular seasons, we probably got a few months of like his nuclear scoring upside prior to the ACL tear. Like there were bits here or there where he would have like a 35 point per game month or something. He obviously had that 50-point game where he didn't shoot any free throws. There's been flashes and stretches of it. It doesn't feel like we've had that in a while. Last year was really, it felt like a ramp up year for him coming back from injury. And you know, it's a big injury, so that's fine, but it would rock if this team had like an all-star caliber guard the whole time instead of just in the playoffs. It's cool that it's there in the playoffs. It's better than the other way around, I feel like, where you have an all-star guard all year and then he shrinks when the lights are bright. But the only reason that could maybe work is because Jokic is so good. So it would be sick to, yeah, maybe get some of that in the regular season.
My guy is obviously Christian Brown. He's gonna have to take a leap if they want to be the same as they were last year, and then I think you need that Peyton Watson leap to be. What do we need out of him? Is it realistic to think he could knock down corner threes, be like a 37% corner three guy, or would the gains come in a different area?
I don't know. I think I don't know what he shot on corners last year. I can't imagine it was really good or he made a ton of them. I know he was like 29-30% from 3 on the season. I think getting to like 35% from 3 with like high percentage in the corners, that's doable. It's just when you ask like will the gains come somewhere else, I don't even know where they would come from. He's not like a dynamic on ball guy. He's already a really good cutter and defender when he's out there. He plays off of Jokic and Jamal Murray really well. He gets a lot of cool dunks and stuff that way, and he's a great help side rim protector. I think he gives them a lot of interesting options on defense. It would just have to be the 3-point shooting. He needs to be able to knock down those shots.
Shout out Peyton Watson. He could do it.
Shout out Peyton Swatson, baby.
Oh.
Yeah. An okay nickname. It doesn't blow me away or anything, but it's fun when you wordplay. Okay. Which team do I think will win the NBA title? I put the Boston Celtics for this. Because even when I thought about like, okay, what do the Nuggets need to give every team a hard series? You can come up with justifications for every other team, even the Thunder, who I think are like really, really good next year. But when you look at going up against the Celtics, if they shoot the 3 the way they did last season, I don't know what the Nuggets have for them. It's an exceptionally hard thing to overcome. The Nuggets, like their whole thing is, if you slow the pace of the game down a little bit, Jokic can oftentimes make you so efficient in fewer possessions that you can overcome like a bit of a 3-point deficit, but not what the Celtics were cranking out last year. And I think the Nuggets will probably be a worse defense than the Mavs were. The Nuggets will be worse than that this year, although Luka was so bad in the playoffs and in the finals. I don't know if that's like a super accurate representation of where the flaws in Denver lie. So I don't know. I think the Celtics will win though.
Yeah, Celtics are probably it. There's just too many two-way guys who can all shoot, pass, dribble, defend. So I don't know how you overcome it, especially with a team that's like the Nuggets like beat people in like a war of attrition sort of, and there's that's not gonna happen with the Celtics. They got too many weapons.
Yeah, I mean the Celtics can literally just be like, we don't want to do that. 40% 3-point shooter. Here's a wide open shot. So yeah, and I mean that's like, even if it was Jokic versus Horford, I think they'd have their hands full. So if it's like Jokic trying to do all the drop shit against fucking Porzingis or something, I have no idea. So that would be tough. I think the Celtics will win. Yeah, that's everything as far as Denver goes. We got fucking 18 minutes left. What do you want to talk about?
Crap. Do we have lobbyist requests?
I do have lobbyist requests. I got a couple here. Let me see. So Tyler Merrick says, Los Fellas. Okay, we're in Spanish on this. I've noticed some oddities that lead me to believe the State of the League podcast is an industry plant. Take the Patreon subscription. It costs $5 a month. How many points does a star have? 5. Where can you find an entire street full of stars? Hollywood. Curious. This podcast is hosted by one Jokic Joe Star. If we were to take those initials, we'd get JJ, who coaches the Lakers. JJ Redick. Who did JJ Redick have a podcast with? LeBron James, star of Space Jam 2. Taking us all the way back to Hollywood. It all goes back to Hollywood. Curious is all I'm saying. How do you respond to these allegations? Damn, Tyler, you're doing a lot of research on us.
It's interesting you're from Nebraska.
How is that interesting?
I never heard of anybody from Nebraska. It's almost like...
Well, don't turn on me here. When he's accusing both of us.
I wonder if anyone can confirm that you're from there.
I would wager my fucking tweet history. Who else was rooting for the Huskers this weekend? Not you. I don't believe that. So yeah, come on, man. God damn, work with me here.
I wonder, Sometimes he tells me he has physical therapy. I wonder if maybe there's a meeting at the White House or something. Huh.
Oh, those meetings don't happen at the White House. It's a secret third location.
Hey, he brought up the star, $5 a month, 5 points on each star. Star of David, Jewish Hollywood, controlling the world. Me.
Yeah.
This is a Jewish media control podcast.
Because of you?
Yeah.
You don't control this.
we're in the clear.
Oh my god. Yeah, baby. For once the fucking Slovaks are doing the controlling, baby. We're coming back. Yeah. I promise, Tyler, if we were industry plants,
we would be way more. I would be in my car.
I think we'd be doing better, man. He's recording in his car. Oh, that rocks.
What if it's a Bentley?
Hell yeah.
What if it's the car? What's the car that comes with stars on the ceiling?
I don't know. I know that Rick Ross has one.
Oh, is it Maybach or Rolls Royce?
Let's go Rolls Royce with this one.
Well, is he Maybach music or no? Someone's Maybach music.
I don't know. I'm not locked in enough on the hip hop front, unfortunately.
Huh. A Hollywood plant would know Rick Ross.
That's true. Yeah, be friends with them. I went to Michael Rubin's all-white party, and I said, holy shit, Rick Ross, shout out to all the pair. And he told me to fuck off.
I went to Michael Rubin's all-white party wearing blue, and no one even noticed.
What's funny? What were they noticing instead? I'm confused.
The joke is being so white that no one notices.
Oh, all right. Okay. Nice. I like that.
Write that one down.
Yeah, you guys can steal that if you want. All right.
Write that one down, Matt Rife.
Let me see. What are some good questions in the Patreon? Pablo, are there any... Oh, Cow Daddy for real says, Pablo, are there any college prospects this year that we will love endlessly?
I don't watch high school, so I don't know him yet. But Cooper Flagg, accidental white supremacy icon. He's going to be a monster. Not for unrelated to white supremacy reasons.
He's going to be a monster. Oh my god, the things he says. Be a monster
on the court. I hope. Ace Bailey, at Rutgers is supposed to be, if you're a hooper guy, if you're a mid-range ball don't stop hooper, pure hooper.
Ball don't stop had a good tweet. He praised Tim Duncan today.
What did he say? It wasn't. Let me guess. He included the phrase, "It wasn't flashy."
No, it was like someone tweeted out highlights of Tim Duncan having like 30 and 10 in the Clippers series in 2015. And he just quoted it. And it wasn't like straight Tim Duncan praise. It was just like, this is the way the game should be played. Bring back half-court basketball.
Nice. And well, but we have half-court basketball.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the Nuggets, baby. They don't run it at all.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull up his Twitter right now.
Sweet. We're just gonna plagiarize this guy for the last 10 minutes.
Every 6'2" to an underguard with hoop dreams needs to be studying Peyton Pritchard.
Ooh, nice. I was gonna say Ace Bailey. So imagine the NBA expands this offseason. We get a Vegas team. Imagine they draft Ace. That'd be sick.
Oh, that would be cool. Ball Don't Stop tweet about Caitlin Clark. He said she's the ultimate hooper. So Ball Don't Stop is pro women.
Hey, I never doubted that for a second. And then none of his tweets ever come across as like, I don't know. We've talked about it before. Like the Kobe fans that are like, their tweets just ooze misogyny, like the way they talk.
Yeah, it's so intertwined in my mind where like if someone is hardcore about defending Kobe's mid-range shots, like I'm gonna assume a lot about their other opinions. Like
yeah,
I'm gonna assume he's I would assume he would be a guy who's like they're leeches at the WNBA. They're not a profitable league. Blah blah blah.
They haven't made money since they started. Do you know that?
Let's check what now I have 824 Mamba Forever I have
Oh,
his Twitter
sweet.
pulled
This
up.
rocks. I love this segment. Let's get into it. What's he saying?
He tweeted an hour ago a picture of Kobe with a gold medal. He said Captain Mamba. And then
That's cool, I guess.
yeah, how does he do this every day? 3 hours ago. I will never put LeBron above Kobe. Kobe is a better, and then he lists every single basketball skill. Shooter, scorer, post game, footwork, handles, more skilled. He lists 10 things and then he says more skilled.
More skilled. Hell
and
yeah.
And then there's still more after. Moves, counter moves. Better off the ball.
Oh my God.
Peak scoring, higher defender, winner. Kobe also played against tougher competition. Yeah, he's got this whole thing. He's got the side-by-side stats. Oh my God, dude. Is he tweeting the same thing every day? Oh, he
has to be recycling the general idea of it. I don't know. It's fun. If you were to ask someone, like, explain how good Kobe is, you can't use lists. Don't start listing things. Because it feels like that's like a core tenet now. Is like, it's not just like points, rebounds, scoring, blah, blah, blah. Like 8 points into the list, it will be like counters, demoralizing defenses, shit like that, where it's just, yeah, like, I don't know. You can come up with descriptors for anybody. Like, if I put not flashy on a list why Tim Duncan is good, I could come up with a bunch of shit for that.
Why are his graphics that he makes so bad? How are they this low quality image wise? Like, looks like it's from 2010. But I don't think this is, because it's top 5 scoring seasons and it's a side by side of LeBron and Kobe, and the picture is of LeBron in Miami jersey, but I think this is an up-to-date graphic, but it looks like it's from 2010.
Maybe that's his style. Maybe that's what he likes to do.
He's like the Zodiac. Imagine the Zodiac killer, but it just, instead of the cut-up magazine letters, it just comes in as 2010's Facebook graphic.
It's like impact font. Where did I bury the body or something? I'm gonna kill again, and then it's like a super pixelated picture of Carlos Boozer.
Yeah, this is like, do you think he's making money off these?
No. I mean, is he verified?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, yeah, technically, but like, I don't think the return's that good on Twitter.
It's crazy that sometimes I'm like, man, I have no clue what to post today. There's nothing going on. And then this guy is posting about a dead guy who has not played in almost 10 years. And he's, oh my God, it's crazy.
Yeah. I wish my life was that simple, thinking up the dumbest shit in the universe to post online. It's not as easy as you might think.
I wonder if, like, so he has no clue. He's probably so deep in the Kobe world, like he's not keeping up with with the real world. And so I wonder if he like, is this a stress-free life? Because he doesn't know that children are being blown up for no reason in Gaza.
Almost certainly.
But like, is his life stress-free because of that, or is he stressing to the same degree about that? About, like, with Kobe versus LeBron debates? Like, is he walking around with veins bulging, heart pumping, anger all day long because he gets a Twitter reply that says, like, LeBron is better than that fraud?
To be honest, okay, yeah, probably, because I don't think any emotion can be responsible for this level of consistency outside of anger. Like, it's very difficult to imagine him like happily seeing that notification pop up and being like, oh no, here's why Kobe's better. Have a nice day. Like, I'm gonna go take a walk or something. No, that's not how someone who lives that style of life functions. So it's not a stress-free life. It's just like stressing over stupid shit. Yeah.
I would love to be, if I was God, I would transport this guy into a universe where he wins every argument and he, like, changes everyone's mind, and so everyone stops saying that LeBron's better. And everyone just agrees Kobe's better. I want to see what he does from there with his Twitter account.
Yeah, you take away like, yeah, I mean Tom Brady can't play football at that point. Like, what does he become? Yeah, his mind breaks.
That'd be crazy. What if he became LeBron? The very thing he sought to destroy.
No, oh my God, he makes it to the NBA, and he's like, damn, these shots are really hard. I'm just gonna take layups and stuff, and like he can dunk everything. And then yeah, 15 years later, he's like, I think I was better than Kobe, and it's just this whole new cycle.
It's like Kung Fu Panda.
I've only seen the first Kung Fu Panda.
It's about cycles.
It's about I like cycles. I just saw Twitter art. The Avatar cycle reminded me of this, where someone painted Cartoon Network as the Akatsuki, and I was like, that's sick as fuck. It looks really cool. But someone did it for like a different Naruto thing. I don't know. But they did it with like Nickelodeon, and it's got like way less aura. It's not nearly as cool because it's got like fucking, I don't know, Jimmy Neutron and shit in there. And Aang is there, and Aang should have a ton of aura, but he just doesn't because of everybody around him. It's like Invader Zim and people, and I'm like, you're doing my guy wrong.
I never did watch Invader Zim.
Me neither, because it looked nerdy every time it came on. I was like I'm not watching this nerd shit. Oh my God.
Too cool for this.
It's exactly what I said.
Did you watch Jimmy Neutron?
Yeah, I did.
I did too. and get this dweeb Invader Zim on my screen. It's too nerdy. Let me watch Jimmy Neutron.
What's funny about Jimmy Neutron is like, I remember it as like a normal cartoon. If you go back and look at any of it, it's the ugliest thing in the world. Like, it looks so bad. Like the 3D animation style and shit.
It was cutting edge.
Yeah, it was brand new. Oh my God, the brain blast. This is crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I liked Jimmy Neutron well enough, but the Avatar: The Last Airbender, that was my favorite Nickelodeon show, and probably SpongeBob too, I guess. And then George Lopez got up there fast. I love George Lopez and the nanny, Nick at Night. Shout out to them.
Ta loca.
Oh man! All right, let's get one more lobbyist request in here. I want to give them the hour they asked for. Original names: Isaiah Hartenstein, Austin Reeves, or Cam Thomas. How do you feel about this?
What is it? What a group. Isaiah Hartenstein, Cam Thomas, Austin Reeves?
How did you name 3 separate tiers of player? Would you rather? I've never seen this before.
Hartenstein 1, Reeves 2, Cam Thomas 5.
I know. Hey, Cam Thomas, what if Cam Thomas proves everybody wrong this year? Well, like, he's 27 points per game, 40% from 3 on volume, 3 assists. Like, he's spreading the rock a little bit. He's not unlivable in that regard.
Then Cam Thomas plus Cooper Flagg, Kobe and Shaq.
Oh my God, that'd be sick. If Shaq was 6'8" and good at defense.
Oh, that'd be epic.
Oh my God, that didn't even get us to an hour. That was a waste of a lobbyist request. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts? Did you like Alien Romulus?
It was really good, except it was really good, but part of the movie was ruined because there was this guy who was just speaking in Spanish, like having a full-on out loud conversation. I thought it was a group, and then it turned out it was just one guy with his girlfriend. He was just like talking to himself the whole time. It was crazy. He got shushed once, and then he didn't stop talking, and then we waited, and then my friend did a shush, and then he shushed up. So, but it went on a little too long.
Your friend mogged him. Damn, he had to show who the real Chad was.
It was because we were like really far apart. There was only me and my friends in one part of the theater, then one couple at the bottom, and then these people, like, and it was like a huge theater, and so we couldn't see where anyone was. But my friend was gonna shush them. And I thought it was like a group, so I was like, I don't know, what if they get mad to start something? But no, it turned out it was just one guy. It's crazy.
I always hate that when you're like, because I feel that same way too. I'm a fucking weenie when it comes to public confrontation. But like, I shouldn't have to feel that way in the theater. I
Yeah.
shouldn't have to feel like, oh, what if I start something? Shut the fuck up in the theater. Why are we doing this?
And he showed up 50 minutes late. And so, to be fair, AMC starts 20 minutes after the showtime. And actually, sometimes it could be 25. But still, he was 50 minutes after. Like, how did he even get in? I thought they would have all gone home.
Damn. It's like a 2-hour movie. He missed. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, they were like just getting onto the ship.
Oh, which is where, I mean, I liked it. I liked it well enough. So you saw the original Alien movie then? You told me that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, for me, that was a life-changing experience. That's one of my favorite movies. And so this movie, I don't hold it like the rest of them to that standard, but I always want them to be as good as possible. The first 40 minutes of Alien Romulus, I was like, this is sick as fuck. Like the mining colony, the grubby, grimy ship, the young cast teen horror type of it all. I was like, this is fun. This is really good. The android guy, Andy,
It was
it
so
was sick.
good.
And spoilers, by the way, for everybody. We're not tiptoeing around shit on this podcast. Like the back, once they got on the ship, I kind of settled. It was fun. It was good. It was pretty scary, and I liked like the effects outside of the AI guy. But yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It was all right.
I think it's out of the ones I've seen, like I thought it was really good. I think it's probably like it's better than Prometheus, and it's definitely better than Covenant. And then from what I've heard, the Alien sequels aren't that good.
No, they aren't. I guess Aliens is supposed to be very like action blockbuster good. But yeah, the rest of them, Prometheus, there's like a big cult following around Prometheus and Covenant. It doesn't really do it for me because like they look really cool and there's a lot of good actors in them, but they're written like shit, and so I'm like that. That's like the core tenet of a movie is like the stuff that they are doing and saying, and so if that's bad, none of the other stuff is really going to help for me. And so Prometheus, yeah, I would say this is better than Prometheus and Covenant, but yeah, Alien 1, I'd rather just watch that again, to be honest.
The problem is the same thing happens in every movie. But this one did it had some cool innovations, like the anti-gravity with the acid.
Yeah,
that part was cool. And but yeah, like they need to introduce a swordsman.
Oh, dude, fuck. What was I gonna say? Oh, okay. There's a sequel, a Predator sequel called Predators. It came out in like the late 2000s, mid 2010s, starring Adrian Brody, and like an ensemble cast. So it's like 10 super deadly humans. Like they have a very high kill count. So they're like soldiers or assassins or whatever. They get abducted from Earth and dropped onto an alien planet as like prey for like the Predator movies, how they like to hunt shit.
I've never seen any. Are those movies good?
The first one's good. I've never gotten really into any of them, but when I was a kid, I liked this movie a lot. So like their whole thing is they're an alien race that like they're all about the hunt. If they could hunt something dangerous, then they want to do it. And so this alien planet in that movie is like a hunting reserve where they like stock it with shit to kill pretty much. And in that one there is a Yakuza guy who finds a katana and he has like a sword fight with a predator.
Oh, I think I have seen that clip.
Yeah, it's cool. But they don't have acid blood. That's the thing with aliens. If you have a sword, you're kind of fucked. You know, the blood's gonna get you.
Well, no, if it's made by the right craftsman, the acid won't melt through. And you know how they slash the blood off blades? They could do it with that. That would be cool.
Ooh.
So write that down.
You should read Kagurabachi. That's all about a good swords craftsman. I bet his shit would not succumb to acid. I bet it would like shoot lightning out instead.
I gotta wait, because what if it's good?
Kagurabachi?
Yeah, then I'm stuck reading week to week for the next 10 years.
It is good.
Yeah,
Read
so
it. Oh my god.
I'll tune in 7 years.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna stop referencing it, so you're never gonna know what I mean.
No
when I
one will
say-
know. You're the only one
No,
reading it right
plenty
now.
of people will know. It's next up after Jujutsu Kaisen's fraud run wraps the fuck up. Oh my god. Gojo's not coming back. He's dead in the ground, and he didn't die that sad. He was
No.
probably happy. He was like, oh,
No, my
I never
Blue-Eyed
had
King
a chance.
My Blue-Eyed King is coming back next chapter.
No, a lot of people are saying it's going to get sad again because it was such a dark thing forever, and there's 3 whole chapters left, and everything's feeling really chill right now. So,
Well, look, if you want to kill him, you have to cut off his head.
Gojo
didn't cut. Yeah,
he cut off. I mean, if we're rounding,
they didn't cut off his head.
He cut off like head and spoilers. He cut off like head and shoulders. Does that not count?
His head and shoulders?
Yeah, when he sliced him, like he's in half.
Well, he got his lower body. That's not his head.
Oh my god.
Gojo said if you wanted to kill me, you should have gone for the head, just like Thanos.
Whatever.
And that's apparently not going to matter at all. that he already seemed to die earlier in the series, and then died again, but his head didn't fall off. Maybe if his head was cut off, then I wouldn't have spent the last year of my life wondering if he's coming back.
Well, I mean, his head and his torso. Was his head attached to his legs? You know, who's to say at that?
The cursed energy comes from the brain.
Oh, it comes from the stomach. Oh my god. Hour 6, you know, I'll wrap it up here. I don't give a fuck. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Do you have any final thoughts, Mr. Escobar?
He'll be back next week.
He'll be back next week, everybody.
So write that down.
If we just spoiled it for you, I feel bad because we weren't really we were pretty abrupt with that reveal. So, you know what he would need if he was in 2 pieces? He would need someone to save his life.
Nice.
Pau Gasol, take it away.
Lay down